So I've got my crazy ass story that happened 2 weeks ago to me. And I experience a lot of different things. I work in the astral realm all the time. I have guides that just will appear to me. They'll just be standing there and look at me and then they disappear. I have some that just interact, coming in and out of physicalness, but staying in a mental state, and they just come in and they do different things. So I've had experiences, but nothing like this experience. And so this was 2 weeks ago, and it was like 10 or 10:30 at night, sometime in between there. And the place I'm staying at, this Airbnb, is small, but there's two large windows by the front door, and the porch is maybe 3 feet by, maybe 5 feet by 3 feet, I think. It's not very big at all. There's no front porch light on. And I'm sitting on the couch, I'm watching a little television, and I start to hear this noise on the side of the house. And then it's coming around the corner. And so I go over to the wall and where that first window is, and I look out it and I don't see anything. But then I hear this, like, just this really loud noise. It's hard to describe because it was just a loud noise. And so the wall, it's only this big, and whatever's happening is happening here. And I'm right here, and I'm just hearing this loud noise. Then I hear hooves going across the front porch, and I go turn on the front porch light. I look out, and the light's pretty good. You can see through a good, almost the whole yard with the light on. But I looked through the window, I can see the front porch, and I went to the window in the direction of what I thought was walking, and I see nothing. I can see the front porch, nothing's on it. And I will also say that the front door has glass in the top half. It's frosted, but you can still see out it. Like, I can go look at it. I can see the posts that are there. I can see the mat on the ground. I can see when packages are laid on it. So you can still see. But then I hear the noise again, like the loud noise. And then I hear the hooves. Now I'm in Southern Oregon, and I'm like, there's deer everywhere where I'm at. So I'm like, there's got to be a deer out there. And the noise that was so loud, like, I want to open it, but I'm afraid, what if there's also a different kind of animal that was maybe chasing the deer and would try to come in. But I just stood at the front door, and I'm looking on both, directions, and I see nothing, but I keep hearing this noise. So, and the hooves, and it's just like loud noise. There's no like meowing like it was a bobcat or a mountain lion or some other animal. It was just this loud noise, like rustling on the outside of the wall. Now, this goes on for like 8 minutes. I'm going back and forth between the windows and the door, trying to see what's there. And not one time could I see anything was outside of this. And you can hear the hooves walking. And so I hear them going right for the front door. So I'm standing there with bated breath, and nothing is there. Nothing is there. Nothing is there. And finally, after about 8 minutes, this noise stops, and then there's scratching. At the top, there's 3 panes of glass in the top half. The very top pane, there was like this light, like scratching. And I've got my face right there, and I can see no animal. And I'm looking at the spot that's being scratched, and there is nothing there. So I turned the light on and off twice, still scratching, nothing's there. And then I just bang my hand on the front door, and I go, "Get out of here." And whatever it was jumped to the top of the roof of the front porch and then jumped into the trees, and then it was gone. And my heart was beating a mile a minute. I had no idea what it was. I never saw anything. And the next morning I went out and I tried to find some type of animal footprints, because beside the front porch there's some mulch, but there's just a lot of dirt. And I'm looking, and there's not a hoof print, there's not any animal print at all in any of this. There's no scratches on, like, whatever they were doing against the wall. They have siding out there. I saw no scratch marks. I saw no imprints of anything. And it was unsettling, to say the least. Now, where it gets even more unsettling is when all that was over that night, about 30 minutes later, I had a very deep pull to call a friend of mine that lives an hour and a half away in Mount Shasta. And I went to call him, and I was going to leave him a message. And then I went, don't be such a baby. You don't need to call him. Everything's fine. And I put my phone down. And I will also say I had asked my guides to come in and make sure they cleared the outside of the house. And they came in and did, and they told me it was okay. However, the next morning I wake up and I get that same impulse to call my friend again. So I send him a message and I tell him what happened. And he sends me a message back and goes, oh my God, the same thing happened to me last night. And it happened at his place between 10:30 and 11. And here it was between 10 and 10:30. He goes, there was something going around making the loudest noise around the house and scratching. But there was nothing there we could find or see, no animal at all. And that's where it got just a little bit freaky. So when I went to go to bed that night, the room that that I stay in here, it has a big glass slider in the wall. So the one wall next to the bed is almost all glass. And this girl was still regulating her nervous system, even though my guides told me everything was okay. I just had worries about something trying to crash through the glass. And so I just shut that door and I went to sleep on the couch. Now, I stayed up watching movies for a little bit longer, and it was 3:30 before I finally got to a place where I thought I could go to sleep. And I fell asleep on the couch. And then the next thing I know, there is this astral version of me. I thought, I'm lucid dreaming, because this astral version of me is now on, like, the couch is here and I'm laying on the couch sleeping. And then this astral version of me is right up here and I'm watching myself sleep on the couch. But then I look up and I see two extraterrestrials in this house, and they are over near the front door. Actually, they're near where this noise was being made. Now that I think about it, I didn't even put that together, but they were over right in between the front door and the window. And they were probably 6 foot tall. They were not humanoid. Their faces were a little blurred. It's almost like they had a little bit of mist around their face, so I couldn't see it clearly. But I could still make out, still knew somehow they were two males. And as I'm watching them, I'm thinking right now, when I go, I'm thinking back, like, is there anything else about their features I can tell you? They were not the same species. They were two different species. I'll definitely say that, because they had two kind of distinct looks from what I could tell. But I then looked down at myself, and I think I was nudging myself to wake up. And I'm look at myself on the couch sleeping, and that version of me starts to move. And then I look over at the two extraterrestrials, and they look at each other, and then they make a motion like we got to go. And one of them takes right off. The other one starts to walk, and instead, he walks over to the sleeping version of me on the couch. Now, at that point, I go out of being in this astral, watching myself, and I'm now in the body of the person sleeping on the couch. And I am waking up and I see that extraterrestrial coming toward me, and I sit up. And he gets down on his knees and he takes my hand and he puts my one hand, my left hand, in between his two hands, and he just holds it. Just holds it. And then he puts his cheek up to mine, and he just stays there and he doesn't move for a couple of minutes. I can't say a word. I can't speak. And I wanted to ask him to just step back so I could pull myself together. I was trying to adjust to what was happening, and I was being overwhelmed, and I just wanted to pull myself together. But he never said a word. He was very gentle with what he did, and he just stayed there cheek to cheek, and it felt smooth. It wasn't skin like our skin, but it felt smooth. And then he just got up and he left. And then I woke up and went, was that real or was that a dream? I don't know. I am not convinced that it was just a dream. And I had the feeling like, now that I have had time to reflect, like they were coming to look at what was here, whatever that was. And also they did an acclimation a little bit. We'll have these acclimation events, is what I like to call them, where it gives your body time to acclimate to what happened. So if I was wide awake, like right now, and one just walked in and walked over to me, I don't know how I would react. I see lots of different beings when I meditate, and they come in and we have these amazing experiences. And I have zero fear of them. I've done plant medicine retreats 3 or 4 times now. And you can have different events there as well. And there's just no fear, but for something to be right in front of you. We've got this humanness piece of us that goes, ah! So I think, there's these acclimation events will happen in ways to help us learn how to regulate our nervous system, so that when things are open and they're not being hidden anymore, that we'll be in a better position for, having a different kind of conversation, learning amongst each other in the way that the world will evolve and what that will look like. So that is my crazy ass story for what happened 2 weeks ago. And I'll let you know if anything else comes in. All right, guys. Next time.